Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Southron Bannermen. I am Joe and I am joined by regular host Ben Davey.
Regular Hest? Okay, sure. Hi guys.
Ryan is not available at the moment as he's crippled, so we went and got ourselves an American instead.
Hello.
Hello, Matt.
I am a guest, not a Hest or a host.
Yes. and you're, I guess from that intro, you're the token American for Southron Bannermen.
I've always wanted to be a token American.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Okay. Yes, Matt. Tell us a bit about yourself for the people who do not know you.
Oh, hello. I'm Matt Edelman. I live in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, which are in America. And I've been playing Game of Thrones since right around when Second Edition came out. I've run a lot of events in the Pacific Northwest, and surprise, I'm going to be your marshal at not Gen Con, but ETX, also known as Nationals, in about a week.
Oh, cool. Your Nationals in a week?
Our Nationals are in a week.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Somehow completely missed that.
Because we're all looking at Euros.
Yeah.
We have no time for this nonsense.
So Euros are next week as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. That's great. We're gonna have two major meta-defining tournaments in the span of a week.
By Lanny.
Which are both going to get won by Lannister, I suspect.
No. Stark.
Well, yep.
Yep.
So, you were saying you started in second edition, so you didn't play any first edition then?
I played enough first edition to understand that I liked it. My games of first edition were 2 core sets and a couple of melee games. And then I realized how gigantic the card pool was. So I just waited.
Yeah, I had that. I bought more than I probably should have. And then just played terribly all the time.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It is looking back, and as I do a few times, to kind of look at old cards that might, make an appearance at some point. It does amaze me how big that card pool was at the end.
Yep, it was crazy. Hence why they had to start a new edition.
Well, I'm sure they had to start a new edition for many reasons.
Yeah. Also because it was terrible, that's why.
It does seem like a game where it's like, okay, nothing's overpowered because everything's overpowered.
Yeah. Anyway, so what are we talking about this week, Ben?
We are... you done it to me, damn you. 16 episodes you've been waiting for this revenge, Joe, haven't you? We are talking about, as I bring my notes up that I have lovingly prepared and not just focusing what Joe sent me about an hour ago. We're having a further look at the meta, as we have 2 of the biggest tournaments you're going to see this weekend coming. And then we're going to have a little chat about the differences between the American meta and the UK meta. If there are any, what they are, and yeah. This is quite a good thing we didn't have Darren on for this one, because he'd start being very rude at that point.
I take it Darren doesn't like the UK meta?
No, he does. From L5R, he has this thing about the American meta not being very imaginative. But I'm saying that politely. That's the PT version.
He may be onto something. We'll discuss later.
But yeah, God, I didn't realize it's Nationals next weekend. I just did not realise. Isn't it being in Seattle a bit kind of annoying for the rest of the country?
Well, here's the thing. America is a very big place.
Really? Yes. I mean, I'm sure it's about the same size as England, right?
About, think like 2 Waleses. It's pretty close.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
So here's the thing. We have Continentals, also known as Gen Con, that is in Indianapolis. We have Worlds in Minnesota, and last year, Nationals was at Origins in Iowa. So we had the 3 biggest events of the year were all in basically the same section of the United States. So the fact that at one of those 3 is going to move to one of the coasts is very good, because the people who live in the area of Worlds, they have Worlds.
Yeah.
The people who live on the West Coast, we have Nationals now.
Cool.
And the East Coast is I would say, close enough to Indiana where they don't necessarily need planes to get there. But everywhere on the West Coast, you're looking at expensive plane rides to get to, say, Gen Con. So it's good to have a big tournament on the coast.
Yeah, that does make sense. I know from listening to Rob's gaming table, sorry. They have similar problems in Canada, don't they? Because obviously in Canada, basically, you're either on the two coasts and there's like almost nothing in the middle.
Right.
Right. And so wherever their nationals goes, half the country's like, oh, that that's kind of annoying for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so you're getting nationals. Are you expecting a lot of people?
I'm expecting, I want to say over 100, and this is completely speculative. It's just a feeling. Origins last year got about 80, if I remember correctly. Thanks to all three tournaments being in the same area, a lot of people who were considering going to Origins last year would save the money for Gen Con because that seems to be the fan favorite, at least barring Worlds. So this year, I think I'm thinking over 100, and that'll be really good. What I'm also looking forward to is that on the day before Nationals, we're having the Trial of Three, a three-player team versus team tournament, and that will be really interesting.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so obviously we've got Euros, which I believe is at 150 tickets-ish.
It's not a contest.
Like
it's not a contest.
No. I'm not saying. I'm literally. It's different because as we were kind of talking about beforehand, with the UK, pretty much as long as you put it somewhere around the middle, pretty much the whole of the country can get there. There's no plane flights involved, so there's not a contest at all.
Although you got to remember, if you say most country can get there, technically it is meant to be the European Championship.
Yeah.
It's not the UK Nationals.
Shh. Let's not start this argument again.
So do you have the same national prize kit? Is it the white tree playmats and stuff?
I have not been paying too much attention, probably because I can't play. But I know we're getting the pack with the. I hope so. That would be great. But I know that we have the pack with the Jaime Lannisters.
Yeah, that's the white tree.
Right.
One.
Yeah. Okay, that's the one. Okay.
Yeah, because your nationals is a lot earlier than a lot of other ones. I would have thought it would have been the North American Championship around this time, but I guess because that gets saved for Gen Con,
that one's in August.
That makes a weird disparity.
Well, what happened this year is that Patrick Day of Uncle's Games in the Pacific Northwest, he has been holding a convention called Evergreen Tabletop Expo, and this will be the third year of the expo. And Fantasy Flight granted nationals to the expo this year, which meant that the date of the convention was just locked in advance. Right. So I don't think there were a lot of options for dates. I mean, it's in a convention hall and everything.
Yeah, I think that's why Euros is when it is as well, because it was the first run they were doing of it. Expo every year was already running regionals, so it was basically we already have this big space. We just need to up the seats for every game.
Right.
Which is why I think even with a lot of arguments why is it in England, that's kind of why we've got the first one.
I think it's also one of those things where they, let's wait till next year, and if it's in the UK again, then I think even the UK fans will have a little issue with it being in the UK because they probably should tour around. But the company running it is based in the UK. They probably want as less of a headache as possible because these things are quite hard to run.
Because in theory, it's not always going to be a CBM. I think a lot of people expected it to be in France because that's where Asmodee are based. It seemed like a potentially good starting point. A Stevian won't do it any other year. Maybe they will because I know they do send people over to other tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But it's the first year. Let's not kill them just yet.
I reckon it's going to be quite good. I'm hoping that the format's going to be clever, or not. Clever's not the right word. Obvious rather than some weird thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Just the fact that we're going to get two big tournaments in the same weekend. for multiple LCGs. That's good for all of the LCGs.
What's legal for American nationals? Is the full last support not legal?
It is not, because it comes out the day before, and we're following the 11-day rule.
Same as us then. So we're going to be talking about the same meta. So what do we think is going to be popular?
Okay, well, it's from my own research. It seems that the story right now is one of Targaryen. I think that one is going to be quite popular. Targaryen, Tyrell, and Lannister, I think, are probably going to be the 3 big decks.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Because Lannister always seems to be good. And it does seem like Lannister is pretty much just Lannister reigns at this point. Pretty much.
I don't know about that. So just yesterday, there was a pretty decently hyped tournament called Kublai that happened yesterday, and that was won by Chris Schrinthal, who is last year's North American champion. He played Lannister Rose and went, I think, 9-0, and that's a tough field. So I think I'm suspecting that his deck is basically text to beat Tyrell, and that's probably why he did so well. Sorry, not Tyrell, but Targaryen. Yeah, you get strength boosting and Randall Tarley, and you're in good shape. Yeah.
Okay. Are we expecting Barra still to be quite low down? Because they've not been represented much, but saying that this weekend they did win the Dutch Regional, was won by Barra.
So interestingly enough, Baratheon seems to be doing decently well in North America. Just looking at the Annals of Castle Black here, I think it's like, whereas in Europe, Baratheon is doing terribly. So I suspect that I want to say that a Baratheon deck will probably crack into the top cut.
Yeah, I think the Baratheon, the newer version, is quite well placed. Like, I don't think people are that prepared for it. Like, not as much as you expect. Like, so if you can kind of come a bit left field with the Baratheon deck, you should be able to do quite well, because no one really solved the whole dominance package. It was kind of just Greyjoy appeared and were like, we're going to try and take away your locations.
Well, what I think Baratheon suffers from that might cause some issues for this particular meta is that I've noticed that Baratheon seems to have a lot of trouble with the Turbo Drogo start that Targaryen could just pull out.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just lots of military icons on top of a second turn 2 claim plot, backed up by Dracarys and Crown of Gold. That's very hard to keep up with. Yeah,
it's like the decks I were running in the Name of the King for that purpose of trying to make sure that you can't just get like completely rolled over by Drogo. Because in my experience of playing the Targ, being the Targ player, you go, okay, military 1, either one of the challenges is probably going to get blocked by Robert, then you win the other one, and then eventually you're just slowly doing the attrition on their board, and if they're blocking with Robert, then he's not hitting you back either. So
and then you add on Dracarys and March to the Wall, and Targaryen can seize the momentum for military very quickly.
Yep.
So interesting. Just looking at the annuals since the start of this cycle. And so we probably figure Tyrell's been the most popular by a mile, and their qualifying rate is fairly good into cuts. Most other factions seem to be slightly down on it. Stark, the least represented faction, has a really good qualifying rate.
Yep.
Which is quite surprising in some respects. Although it's not looking at it on the stats. 9%. It's saying 9% of the cut is Stark, but only 4% of the field is winners. Oh, hang on, I'm reading this the wrong way around. Actually, no, I've got a really bad rate. When they make the cut, they tend to win the cut. They tend to win. There we go.
That makes a lot of sense. They had to slog through so many Targaryen decks and Tyrell decks, in the Swiss. So that makes a lot of sense. Because
I didn't quite get how Barra, especially there was that weekend where Barra just seemed to disappear from the meta, and you had one of the Bothell Dockside, and you had the Siege of... I've got that completely wrong, and I have... Whatever. I'm just going with it. And the Siege of Starpike, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And between the two events, there was 110 players, there was 4 Barra players.
I think Targaryen drove it out. I've played a lot of Baratheon since the start of the game, and Targaryen was always the toughest matchup.
I find unless you get Stannis out nice and early, because then all the nil effects to do stuff just doesn't seem to work as well. But
and
I agree.
Well, also Targaryen has Plaza of Pride now, which is incredible.
Yeah.
And that really puts a dent in the Baratheon plan if you're using the Neil plan.
And obviously Crown of Gold hits, because really you got Mel Stannis.
Yeah.
And Crown of Gold, especially on a Fire and Blood turn. That's those two. Or even Rob can be dead at that point if the board's set up right.
Yeah, and then you add on like Daenerys with Rhaegal.
Yeah.
And it can be very difficult for Baratheon to hold that all back.
Yeah, that's true. So obviously that's the top three. I mean, I still think Stark is going to be quite popular, which could be wrong because they're just such a good counter to everything at the moment. That's good.
I think there's going to be some good Stark players making the cut in both tournaments. It is the obvious deck to counter everything at the moment. It should be beating the Lanny decks that are appearing to beat Targ. It should beat Targ. And I think it has about a 50-50 chance with Tyrell because you can't really stop their effects as well.
No, but you can. But with Bran and Winterfell and Cat, you can shut down a lot of the stuff that they want to do to get the extra power rush.
Okay. Yeah, well, obviously Randall being a big part of it, he doesn't need to do a lot of his effects during the challenge.
No, but you stop the superior claims.
Yeah,
and the honey wine, the stuff that just accelerates it beyond the point where you can keep up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Stark's always that weird one because the deck hasn't really changed much since Wolves of the North.
Yeah.
But it still does the job you expect it to do. And obviously
it's like what you're saying with Baratheon. For some reason, they disappeared. And now they're back in basically exactly the same boat as they were. Same way Barra disappeared, then came back in basically the core set form.
Yeah.
It's the answer at the moment. And I'm hoping not many people are going to actually do that next week, because it'll make my life a living hell if I could run into too many of them.
Well, yeah. But yeah. I'm quite looking forward to it, because I also feel like people have been holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the UK, I don't think people have gone too nuts at showing off everything that they're doing, and it's actually quite nice having the secrecy again.
Yeah.
I know it's been a pain in the arse for me with the YouTube, because I've deliberately not put my Stark stuff on there, because I'm running Stark next weekend. Spoiler alert. Because because especially at the plot deck, I find the plot deck is the most important thing, really. And if you know what plots I'm running, you can try and work around them.
Okay.
Because I'm I don't stop myself. I almost gave some stuff away, but if for instance if you're running Valor, that's a very important plot to know, and you can play very differently until you know they're not playing Valor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know they're not playing Valor, their only reset they're playing is First Snow, for example. Well, I can just keep whacking out all my big guys then, because I don't care as much. And I think that's that knowledge can be more important than actually even knowing what characters are in the deck so much.
Okay. Yeah. That's true. A lot of the Stark characters are pretty standard.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing strange stuff like, I don't know, some sort of Jane Poole, Jane Westerling, Jane deck.
I think there is an interesting Stark variation in the moment, which I've been testing a bit this week, which was the finalist deck that Donovan Van Beek was running at Dockside.
Oh, the Monocon one.
Monocon one?
I think that's what he called it, wasn't it? Something like...
No, you're thinking of the Direwolf one.
Oh, okay.
He was basically... It was almost like a weird Maester deck, even though it was just Maester Lewin. But he was running here to serve and free healing expertise.
Oh, okay.
Which I've tested it, and it's quite decent, because it means Maester Lewin on the board means Bran can't be Blood of the Dragon or Valid, which is good against Targ. You have good saves, you can run Valor yourself and still do quite well off of it, and you can kind of just do an interesting denial.
Okay.
All the games I've had have been slow, but...
I also think there's a Stark deck there that uses 3 copies of Marriage Pact. I think that card has been very underrated.
Marriage Pact is a lot better than you realise, at first glance, the interactions with it.
That'd be a fat cat deck, though, probably, wouldn't it?
I could see that, because then the sacrifice effect becomes a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. you potentially could even have like a sacrifice into, so you could like a wildfire into winning the game with it. Oh no, you could do that anyway, wouldn't you? Ignore me.
Oh, here's another thought. Winterfell Crypts.
Yeah.
Does that trigger off of sacrificing?
Only during the challenge phase, I believe.
Okay. Still,
let me check.
I like this idea.
Winterfell Crypts. I'm surprised they didn't come back much during the weird Roos phase that everyone had, because that card was broken with him.
Also, when a start character is
after a unique start character is killed or sacrificed during the challenge phase, sacrifice Winterfell Crypt to choose a character of equal or lower strength at the end of the phase. So it can combine, but they'd have to walk into it a bit.
Well, it means that they can't just, if you go for a big military, they can't just claim their marriage pacted guy, because then they're going to lose another character thanks to the Crypts.
Yeah.
I like it. On top of standing up all of your board with Robb Stark. I like this. Yeah, you can attack for military, and if they claim their betrothed character, you just stand up your whole board.
Yeah. I mainly liked it really for the whole just the valor and the march to the wall interactions that you can do with it.
Okay.
And that if you valor, they kill the marriage pact guy, you then sacrifice one of your characters that was getting killed, because there's a window in between. So you've now kept an extra guy alive. And in March to the Wall, if they march the person with marriage pact, you choose your march and you just sacrifice the person while they're getting marched.
Oh,
so you haven't actually lost anything. In both scenarios, it works out better if they do go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has much better interactions than you'd first think.
Interesting. I like this.
See, so I'm more like Marriage Pact for some of the horrific things you can do to the Stark children. Like you're now in a marriage pact with the Mountain. Enjoy.
It's any character, right? So you can sacrifice Hot Pie.
Yes. Hey, we bought these cheap neutrals around. Why? Well, we're marrying you off to people. It's I'm not going to lie, it's not going to be pretty. Yeah. Look. I'm sure that yes, sure, half his face is on fire, but I'm sure he's a lovely guy. Just,
you just have to sleep on the left side of the bed. Yeah, Marriage Pact. I keep thinking about putting it in. The same that and Ward. I keep almost putting it into the Stark deck, but it's just slots are tough these days. So tough these days. Yeah, I think Ward gets better if you actually build around it.
I think Ward in some sort of Stark Winter deck with probably Harrenhal is probably the way to go with that. Just so you keep stripping their characters away.
Or heck, even this Stark Sacrifice deck that we're talking about, because the warded character gets a Stark icon, Stark affiliation, and so you can march your own guy and that sort of thing. You can march a Stark character, sacrifice this new Stark character that we warded to trigger Catelyn, those sorts of things.
The other interesting one, I was watching the Rochester meta regional. The great guy came runner up. Now, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the live stream and you're watching it later. Night's Watch Reigns made the final. And this isn't a Reigns deck in the same way that at Worlds you had the crossing decks, which were basically just fealty. But so it's close crossing, so they thought it was more value than fealty. This was actually a Reigns deck, which built around it with lots of stewards.
Oh, I see how this would work, because you've got the 7 gold Jon Snow now.
Yes.
And one thing I've also realized is that Craster is a wildling.
Yes.
When Jon Snow attacks, he can stand all wildlings, including your 4-strength intrigue icon Craster.
And he was also triggering on defense with what's it, Castle Black, if their special crossing decks ran into that a couple of times I saw. So
I've played around with that list a little bit this week because I ran into someone playing it, and as well, like Cotter Pike is really good.
Yes, he had Cotter Pike, and I mean he did have the wall in it. There was a couple of times he basically gave up on the wall to trigger Reigns, but at the same time they are normally quite useful turns, and probably better off getting the Reigns trigger than it was getting the 2 power.
Yeah,
and yeah, it seemed pretty decent from what I've seen. Obviously, you made the final of a regional which looked like it had a fairly tough field. I didn't know that kind of the player base up there that well, but the field looked pretty tough from the games I saw.
Was he doing the? This is another thing I saw in the game I played this week. You play the fire that burns, so you go, okay, I defend, I block it all, okay, I attack, Reigns, flip fire that burns. I know what playing.
So he had two. I think he had 2 copies of Late Summer Feast and 1 copy of that, with basically for that reason.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're going to get 1 card draw, and then I'm going to trigger Reigns, and you're not getting any more card draw from losing challenges. So the downside of it is mitigated. Or I think pretty much every Reigns deck should be looking at Late Summer Feast, because you basically don't get any real downside from it as long as you can win that first intrigue.
Yeah.
And then you say he was also doing the fire that burns. That term was brutal. Yeah, I think he had Jon Snow with Longclaw at that point as well. So that's basically go on then, do a challenge a day.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to see that the Night's Watch box is starting to give Night's Watch some more options, and in this case, it looks like offensive options.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I messed around with the crossing deck, and having a look again, I think I would change the way I did the crossing deck. But it definitely is it's definitely a lot more viable than it was pre box set.
Okay, so here's a question: how big of a presence do you think these sorts of Night's Watch decks will have in the cut at our 2 tournaments?
You see, I'm not sure, because I still think when it comes to a big event like this, people are still going to go back to type and go back to what they know works.
Mm-hmm. I know in the UK that people have been playing Jon Snow. I think it's been tested quite a bit in the sort of London meta. I reckon we'll see maybe 1 Jon Snow deck in the cut.
Okay,
maybe 2.
Well, so
that's in the UK,
cut, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Like the last I heard from Liam, which hopefully goes through, is that for us it's going to be 7 rounds day 1, top 32 day 2 if he gets his way.
Oh please, because
which is you get in with 5-2 essentially.
Because the what was it when they were saying come back for day 2 for 2 rounds of Swiss? It was like why come back? Because unless I can make the cut, why? And if I can make the cut, then let's just finish it off. Do it in a day. Yeah. It
sounds like the perfect thing, but it's not his call. So hopefully it's like that.
Yeah, I've noticed this year that tournament, I guess, formats have they're starting to evolve a bit. Like the Stolic format, I love it. 8 rounds of Swiss. If you're 6-2, you make day 2. That's great.
Yeah, like the graduated cut system. That's a bit done.
And the graduated cut performed properly.
Yeah, because the Gen Con one sounded a little bit of a mess.
Yeah. Come back if you're in the top 60, 64, whatever it is. But if you're 64th, you can't make the cut. Then why am I coming back? Yeah. No, God, I hope Liam gets his way. Please let him get his way.
Yeah.
Because the other thing I've been thinking about, and obviously this is kind of going off a little bit, but especially like it being at the Gaming Expo, is if you have to come back for day 2, you're pretty much giving up on the action, and then you play in the melee, you're basically giving up on the expo. The expo is like just something that's going on around beside you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They should really be making it so you can do as much as you can, really, because like if you fail, if you don't make it in the cut, you should then be able to go play another event. You shouldn't have to come back for more Swiss for no reason, or just for a chance.
No, exactly.
Okay. Well, I have a counterpoint to that, actually. The very first Evergreen Tabletop Expo included regionals for a lot of Fantasy Flight games, and they tried a plan for Netrunner that allowed players to see a lot of the rest of the expo. And what they did was they would say, okay, as soon as you get 16 players, you do a pot of 16, and it's basically double elimination. And if you make if your record is X and X by the end of that pot of 16, you make it to, the full tournament the next day. That was a disaster. Because the problem you run into is that when the numbers get bigger, in order to start splitting out like flights and wings, it either makes the tournament take way too long overall, or you have to or you run into problems with you run the flights, but there aren't quite enough Swiss rounds, or there aren't quite enough slots in the cut allocated to each flight for it to be fair.
No, I can see that. I was just more thinking that I assumed what they'd done initially is they would have done the Euros, bang, Friday, come along, Thrones, starts at 10, we finish when we finish, and then you got Saturday. I know it'd be a long day, but then you've got Saturday, do what you want. Saturday, there's no Thrones event on. If you want to go and play the Netrunner, then we can put the Netrunner on the Saturday. Yeah. Go and play the Netrunner, and then come back on Sunday for the Melee. So you at least you can book in a day, because I can't really book into events because I have no idea if I'll be in the cut or not. Hopefully, fingers crossed I will be, but yeah.
Yeah, this is well, it's nice to see that formats are starting to evolve, and we're starting to see a lot of different attempts at different ways of running these tournaments.
Yeah,
and we'll see which ones work.
Now,
I hope.
So good.
I said I hope that FFG eventually evolve their structures more, because I had a chat with Alec Thorne once about the whole best of 3 structure, and
I love best of 3.
They're not allowed to even consider that. I don't think it won't ever come in for Thrones, because they have to follow the structure set up by FFG, and that doesn't allow for that. And I think it kind of goes against some of the ways they view Game of Thrones being played.
Well, it is their game.
Yeah, it's a shame. I hope they do expand the rules more, and their custom structure does become a lot better, because it is quite restrictive the way you have to follow it. But you go, okay, well, so we're a advanced structure event, right? So we have to do this one, all right? So you're saying 6 people turn up, and we have to do top 4 or something like that, because that's what it says.
Yeah, I can see that. What was I was going to say? So, just kind of thinking, as we're talking about meta.
Yeah, right. We have a meta game to talk about.
So, just kind of going through kind of what's been popular and what we think we're going to see. So, Tyrell, still rush, or do you think there's room for other agendas other than just crossing?
I think they're shifting into a middle ground.
I agree. I think the rush deck is starting to get blown out by Targaryen. I think Ryan Wood made a good choice for the location-heavy meta that he was facing in Battaya, and I think the meta is adapting, and I think Targaryen is a part of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, they're still going to be popular, and do you think you're more probably Tyrell Wolf is probably a better place right now, because you've got some of the Stark stuff to counter Targaryen with.
I've been seeing some Tyrell Filthy, and that seemed quite good. And I know Tyrell Reigns can work as well.
Over here, I've noticed it's my sense that Tyrell Wolf is very popular and has been ever since All Men Are Fools came out, but it doesn't seem to be posting the results that it needs to. I'll
go be honest. When I did the Tyrell Wolf for the channel, the games I tend to win most games with All Men Are Fools. I thought, they got New Marge, but New Marge wasn't actually doing that much. It was actually All Men Are Fools in that deck, because you got so many ladies. At one point I got 5 power off All Men Are Fools, and that's basically game at that point. That's gone from it was like, it's kind of a close game, it's a couple hour behind, to bang 5 power on Brienne, also got a power from that.
Yeah,
that's game. Yeah. Should we just call it
the meta adapted to that, at least, because that's I won't not run Hand's Judgment anymore, because those events are so powerful. At the very least, that you need a way of stopping them.
Yeah, I don't think Targaryen would let you get away with even having 5 ladies on the board.
Probably not. But
they're running Valar Morghulis, and they're running Blood of the Dragon.
Yeah.
And they're running a Dragon is No Slave. That is a lot of mass murder.
That is a lot of mass. And it's only going to get worse when the next pack comes out.
I have a very strange thing that whenever I'm playing against like either sort of Stark or Tyro Wolf, is that I have I weirdly lock onto Arya as a target for Dracarys. It always like as soon as she arrives, like no one else I don't care about. I'm like, she's got a dupe by default. The most value I can get. I'm killing Arya every single time.
Yeah. You have this focus on the duplicates. Oh, she'll live through valor. Must kill her.
No one can survive.
I think that is fair. I mean, Tyrell's still in a really good place, and you're still looking at the results. You're still seeing Tyrell crossing up there, but I do think, even my experience of playing Tyrell crossing online recently, I'm not winning games in turn 2 or 3 anymore. I'm having to go a bit longer and be a bit more defensive at times. You can't just rush it out because Targ will just kill you if you do.
Yeah.
So Targ, now there seems to be quite a few different Targ builds, which is one of the things I do quite like. It's not just one. It's not just Targ Fealty. You are seeing Kraken, Wolf, not Wolf. So you are seeing a bit of Wolf, Lion, Summer, as well as Fealty and Crossing.
Interesting. It's my sense in the American meta that it's all Fealty, except for every once in a while someone does Targaryen Wolf.
Okay,
Fealty's the one that seems to be posting the results. The banners aren't performing as well.
I think Lion is still up there because Jamie does help with that uber aggressive. I've got Carl out, and I'm just going to keep doing militaries for days and wipe your board. And I think Great Hall definitely helps in that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Makes that functional.
Yeah, but you can't really question the advantage of being able to put out your Slaver's Bay ports for for 1 gold. Thanks to Fealty. They have so many loyal cards in that deck that Fealty really does a lot for them. Fealty really helps them afford like Daenerys and Khal Drogo and Miri Mazda, not so much, but there's a lot of loyal cards.
That's fair.
I'm playing Daenerys on counting Copper's turns.
Exactly. I see that a lot. My heart always sinks because Targaryen, you had to get your 2 gold location in the first pack.
I would say that I do wonder. We're going to look back at the end of the cycle, and I think that's probably not one of the better ones because obviously the Night's Watch one got spoiled, and that one seems basically not always trigger, but the trigger for that is your opponent plays a 5 gold or more plot.
That's an interesting one, I think.
5 gold in total with their gold modifiers, which makes it a little better.
With gold modifiers as well.
Yeah, it doesn't say printed gold value; it's just gold value, so modifiers come in.
Oh, so as long as they got like Rose Road, you mean, or
Rose Roads, Tywin, etc.
Bloody hell! So
that includes Rose Roads. I don't know about that.
That's the wording, as far as I'm aware.
Interesting.
That's interesting. But I think for me that seems to be pretty much that seems a bit better than Slaver's Bay.
It's not. The problem with that is that it's relying on the condition you can't control.
Yes, no. I do
Whereas that's what most of them should be. Is it should be things you can control. You're ultimately. It's up to you to do the killing.
Yeah, it's no accident that once Slaver's Bay Port came out, Targaryen started running Valar Morghulis.
Yeah,
and, it's like the condition is so straightforward.
It was one of those quite funny ones. There was the White Walkers stream where Richard was playing it, and his opponent went, "Oh, Targ doesn't run Fealty, doesn't run Valar." Sorry, and he's like, "No, it really doesn't anymore." Thinking, have you looked at the cards recently?
It took a while for everyone to catch on with it. I think we're going to get to a point now where everyone's going to go, Stark doesn't run Valor, and Stark are now going to be running Valor quite comfortably as well.
Yeah, I'm fine.
It's one thing I've learned. I've learned that everybody runs Valor.
Yeah, you should never say to yourself, they don't run Valor. Always act as if your opponent can Valor you. So
I'm just 1 second. So I've just had to dig around for the card. I just found it, and I will. After Martial nil to gain 1 gold. I got said if the value of the opponent's revealed plot is 5 or higher. Okay. You're wrong, Joe.
No, let me find gold modifiers.
The value of it says the value of revealed plot is 5 or higher.
Yeah, but it doesn't say printed value, so that I believe gold modifiers affect it immediately.
Well, as a person who needs to know these things, being a judge, I will go consult my rules reference guide. And I'll be right back.
You won't need to know it for the Nationals. Though.
Yeah, I know, but I need to know these things. There in the way the card pool's changed. There are a couple of really interesting rules questions that have come up that are, actually not very straightforward. It's amazing how many what sometimes you think are straightforward, then all of a sudden you look at it and go, actually, that's not the most straightforward card, is it? Yeah. One that was a stumper for a while was okay. Let's say I use House of the Undying.
Mm.
After the end of the challenges phase, who orders the cards in the that go back to the pile?
But the person who owns the card.
Yes. However, it's not straightforward. But thing is, this is actually kind of a small hole in the rules. So under Dead Pile, the rules reference guide mentions that whenever multiple characters are killed, that the owner of the characters, chooses the order that they go in the dead pile. Now, there's a difference between, characters being killed and characters being placed in the dead pile. However,
oh God.
No, this is true. This is how you get heads on spikes, Davos, things like that. But it's actually kind of a hole in the rules. But given no other guidance, I'd say that every other time, multiple cards are placed in a pile, placed out of play, the owner is the one who gets to choose. So I'm going to say that this is the same one. The same way.
Why is this so complicated?
These are the things you got to know when you're judging national championships.
That is true.
Yeah, I anticipate that one coming up at least once.
So, but we are obviously Targ. So we're mainly thinking Filthy is going to be what you're going to see
I agree.
For the serious decks, the people who are there to try and do well.
I think someone will bring a. Someone will do pretty well with like a wolf, and someone I think will do well with a rose.
In the UK, I believe Targ Watch will be the second one. I've seen quite a few people play Targ Watch.
Targ Watch?
Yeah,
what the hell is that?
It's the catapult. You put the catapult in and then you stand them with Plaza of Pride.
Yeah, you don't even need the catapult necessarily, but it's mainly having ranging parties and wear-with bows. Just stick it on them. You're just more aggressive.
It's basically, you got wear-with bows, you got the catapult. Because I came across one where some guy had the catapult, put it on a reducer.
Mm-hmm.
And then had Danny out. And Danny goes, you're at your -1 strength, so all my strength 5 characters can just die by going to a challenge. On the catapult. And then he uses Plaza Pride to stand the character, because obviously it doesn't stand in the... can't stand otherwise at the end of the phase. Yeah, that was brutal. I lost that game. That was with my Night's Watch Crossing deck as well. So the first challenge, I had to get John up to strength 6 before keeping up doing a challenge. 7, sorry, because obviously he gets -1 for crossing as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've seen a few people play that deck, and I think it's like the UK definitely likes Targ from what I've seen, but I think it's going to be Targ Filthy and Targ Watch are going to be the ones that get played for us.
In all fairness, I've got no problem playing that deck now. I just wait till I've got Catelyn or Winterfell and go on then.
Yeah.
You can't catapult me, because Winterfell says no, even though catapult would be quite good against Winterfell. That makes no Nedley sense.
Yeah,
anyway.
Well then, in that scenario, if they've attacked you first, you haven't had those triggers for the attacks they've done to you.
Yeah.
It all stacks up.
Right. I'm literally just going on the order here on Thrones DB. So Martell, if anyone's going to take Martell, it is literally just going to be that Prince's Plan deck, isn't it?
I've heard of a few interesting lists, but Prince's Plan is the kind of key card in Martell at the moment.
It's a really good card.
Yeah, Martell always seems to surprise people. It's just, like always just a Martell deck just comes out of nowhere and does this weird thing. Like remember Martell Stag and the no character, like a very few character deck.
Yeah.
It just always comes out of nowhere and does some weird thing. So who knows? Someone might do like Martell Rose and just come out of nowhere.
I've heard there's a Martell Rose list that could be of interest, which I believe. I think someone played it at Dockside, but you use the Prince's Plan and Randall.
Oh, okay. That's always good. Randall, now that Great Hall is out, Randall can go anywhere pretty much. I'd say, because Great Hall just makes them so affordable.
Yeah, it just sounds like a brutal combination. So, all right, Randall gets an intrigue icon. Randall stands.
So, I guess on this note, speaking of the meta, do you guys think that Randall Tarley will be the most bannered card?
He's always been the most bannered card, I think. He's that good.
He is starting to get up there. It definitely, because he obviously used to be back in first cycle. He used to go for Tyrion. He's probably the most banner card. Mel probably had a small period of being quite a popular banner card.
Mm-hmm. But she gets Dracarys. So
yeah, she was good Dracarys and Crown of Golded. Probably he probably is the most banner card now because he's just so good for that power rush. As long as you got a way of upping his strength, he's going to do a job for you.
Yeah.
Do we really think any Martell people are really going to make the cuts in either event?
1, 2 maybe. The people who play Martell will tend to be good at Martell, and that always drives me crazy because I always seem to lose to the good Martell players as much as I try.
I'd say I'm giving it like a 1 in 3 chance of somebody making the cut at ETX at Nationals with Martell. Of somebody making it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just don't see Martell I just don't feel it. I just don't think they really need like the rest of their cycle.
Yeah, I have a feeling Martell by the end of this cycle, when they've really got this less than 2 icon theme rounded out, and it seems like that's the whole theme for the cycle, I think they could be a deck there.
Okay.
I really do. I don't know.
I'm not sold on that theme, but we'll have to see.
I know Dan Kay's pretty sold on it, but he makes a lot of crazy decks. Most of them are good, in all fairness. No, we don't Tar. Greyjoy. Now this seems to be like fringe faction at the moment, which you can have someone go really deep with them because they have their Valor has really helped them out. Really helped them out, and you're starting to see some interesting builds with like the Greyjoy No Fun for You kind of denial deck, which isn't working quite so well. I think Targ is a bad matchup for that one. But there does seem to be other ones where if you build it right, I think it can do well in the meta. And with Barra disappearing a little bit, and that pretty much is the worst matchup. Greyjoy can have the Barra nil matchup. I think Greyjoy there could be that. There definitely should be some in the cut, at least one in either event.
I think they're in a very good spot at the moment. Great Hall works very well for them because you can just build. You can just go, okay, I play Victorian, Euron, and King Balon, and now all my guys are generally out of Dracarys range unless you've got Danny, right? Then you have modifiers for it, and you just kind of have a big renown beat down with it. The card I think that might actually see play in some of the decks is going to be Drown God's Blessing. To counter.
I think people need to start seriously thinking about that card again because it just stops Dracarys. You don't put it on your big guys. You put it on your Asher, your Theon, your Reader.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're just immune to Dracarys. At which point, do you really want to use Dracarys on a bigger guy who's probably going to live through it?
Yeah.
So I think with Greyjoy, they are very. If you have a good run throughout a tournament, you can do very well with them. The simple fact that they can leverage offensive valor very well, they can have explosive starts, and they have a lot of saves, and they have a bit of location control. You don't need much, just enough location control to maybe to keep the Slaver's Bay's ports from getting out of control. Like you play some We Do Not So's. I can see with a larger tournament, I can see someone bringing Greyjoy and having a good run. And making the cut with it.
Yep.
And it's probably Filthy. I think they've gone back to Filthy.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. There's always some fringes with Reigns of Castamere.
There's been some quite good Greyjoy Lion decks using Jaime and New Balon.
Yep.
Okay. And then them whacking in the double military plot.
Okay.
Because neither of them nil generally, that's a lot of renown.
It's just generally George's deck.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's very strong.
Now,
one thing that's worth noting in the most recent metagame we have here, Greyjoy has a positive qualification ratio in Europe, but a negative qualification ratio in North America.
I said us Europeans, especially Britons, we love Greyjoy. It's because we're an island nation, apparently. Has an effect.
Yeah, I think Greyjoy has always been the big difference between like Europe and America, and that we've always played it, and America's never really grown to it.
Well, I'm also noticing, speaking of the stats here on Annals of Castle Black, the qualification ratio of Banner of the Kraken is positive in America, but very negative in Europe.
So you guys like Banner to Greyjoy, or we think Greyjoy is a good main house?
Well, it's qualification ratio. That's not necessarily representation.
No, it is.
How much of that is going to be Lanny Kraken, do you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things, like after that weekend I talked about where there was 4 Barra players, I'm like, how much do I read into this? Because I have no idea how good these Barra players are. You've only got 4 people. You could have like an amazing Barra player win a tournament and be the only Barra player, and kind of go, well, Barra's still fine, but you could also have the worst player there play Barra, not do very well, and you're like, how much you don't know without knowing all the factors effectively. But yeah, it's interesting that that's such a big difference between the two areas.
Yeah, and it's all results driven because I see here that participation is 6% for both North America and Europe. For all the listeners at home, I'm looking at the All Men Are Fools through Guarding the Realm meta, so that is this cycle.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, on to the next faction, which I don't think we're going to see any of. We've got Night's Watch.
There'll be some Night's Watch.
You think? No,
yeah.
they've dropped off.
Night's Watch.
I don't know. That 7 gold Jon Snow is powering some new ideas. I think someone will do. I think it's worth watching.
The Night's Watch Filthy deck is quite well placed if it's piloted by someone who's not going to make many mistakes. Like, we can pretty much be certain that probably Tamas is making the cut in the Euros. Night's Watch Filthy. Sure?
He's not that good, is he?
I've heard of this Tamas guy. I've heard of this guy. I heard he's pretty good.
I've heard a few lucky events.
My experience playing against Night's Watch Philly at the moment is it's quite a hard matchup for Targ, unless you're running like the really burn heavy one, and that's still one turn where it can work if you are first player. It's very reliant on your opponent messing up or you getting Drogo and beating the wall down before they can even react.
Yeah, the wall is always pretty good, especially the strength boosting is really good in the Targaryen environment. Yeah. And Corrin Halfhand, that guy's really good.
Yep.
Yeah, he's all right. He does some good work.
The Night's Watch winter builds, I don't think will be do as well. I've never been a fan of it. I think they fall off around the middle.
I think the winter, I think winter's now gonna almost disappear as a banner, at least a competitive banner, because there's just not enough support out there for their factions getting too much gold. You're not choking Targ when they've got 2 Slavers Bays out.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just too much gold in the meta, and and the Night's Watch box didn't give any support to the theme, and I thought if one box was going to support choke, it would be the Night's Watch box. So I think I think it's almost too late now. I think the idea of choking someone out, unless maybe it's Greyjoy, they could possibly still do it. Only because they can obviously nil the locations which provide gold.
Sure.
But yeah, I think you're going to start seeing that agenda disappear.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's solely because Targaryen can operate so efficiently on like accounting cobbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the metagame shifted and it was dominated by Lannister again, I think choke becomes a bit better because they can't operate on low gold as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the idea Lanny could potentially do it, but because of treachery. But I think now that we've got the Great Hall over King's Roads is starting to become a bit more of a common theme.
Right.
Treachery's obviously a bit of a waste on a Great Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas obviously when you could go, I've got the King's Road, I can get this choke. No, you can't. The King's Road's now gone. I've really choked you. You just save a turn, and then next turn you get to use it anyway. So I think, that's why I think Winter might, unless you're doing a hand size choke, you're trying to get them down to no cards in hand.
Which I think is actually a really viable strategy. Yeah, I think it's a viable strategy, especially against Targaryen. They seem to want to hoard cards, play the Valor, then come out strong.
Yeah.
That's my strategy too, generally.
Yeah, and potentially there could be a Lanny deck that does that. But the classic idea of the choke, I think, is which is money based. I think isn't strong enough.
Okay.
Personally, could be proven wrong.
Well, this is the blood and gold cycle.
Well, yeah.
Maybe next cycle will be the Feast for Crows cycle, where nobody has gold.
The famine and depression cycle.
Hot Pie becomes a very valuable card.
I love the fact that everyone said, you need to put him in every deck, and no, you really just don't.
Hold on. Fun fact. Sam Bratt's back at Worlds last year, he made top 4 with Targaryen Crossing, and he ran Hot Pie.
Well, yeah, anyone can run Hot Pie. It doesn't mean he's a good card.
Oh, think about it. He had his handmaidens. The Queen's handmaidens, their companions. You could just like spam out like a Danny Drogo hand. Thanks to Hot Pie.
I was just loving the fact that some of the podcasts were going, oh yeah, you don't take him, you don't understand how to play the game, and it's like, I think that's been disproven a little bit.
Second cycle was very much everyone go a bit crazy over the econ. Like everyone went a bit mad over God's Eye as well, and that rarely sees play. It's non-limited econ. It's like wow.
Yeah. I'm definitely glad that we're getting more econ options. It's really nice to see that not every deck is 3 King's Roads, 3 Rose Roads, 3 Reducer, and that's their economy. It's nice to see more options.
And I definitely think whereas there was a thing on Facebook with someone saying that they think Great Hall should be unique, and I disagree because not every deck wants it, and I think some decks the King's Road is still a better option.
I'm waiting to see where it kind of goes, because Great Hall is really prominent in taking over the King's Road slot in a lot of decks, but say when everyone gets their 2 gold location as well, what kind of happens? What is the typical limited setup? Does everyone start running 12? Is it 9? What one gets dropped?
So I have seen the theory of taking a 12 and then take the taxation as one of the plots.
Yeah,
I'm a bigger fan of taking 11 with counting coppers.
Yeah,
because then you can more reliably draw into them, and you kind of overcome the downside of counting coppers.
I keep weighing up whether I should be running Great Hall in my Targ. I have 9 and 2 Beggar Kings, so it's like Beggar King's immediate impact and non-limited, or I could be running Great Hall, which is the slower to get out, but not going to get confiscated immediately.
So, the other one thinking with Night's Watch quickly, is this discard deck with the Queen's?
Oh my god!
Is that going to be heavy? Because I've not been seeing it at these regional streams.
I don't know about heavy, but that thing is scary.
It is. See, one of the guys on the Wednesday night, he's been running it, but I wouldn't say he's not a bad player, but I wouldn't say he's not been winning with it. He's been bloody annoying his opponents, but he's not been winning. So I don't know if that's a factor.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I guess the question is how reliably can it win, and can it win enough? Can it hit a good hand well enough to make it to a cut?
Okay, guys, just quickly, I'm a bit worried here. We just had a message from Ryan saying there's still no internet, and now he's playing with himself, and then he sent a photo. Do I open this?
Is he playing Tyrell Crossing against himself?
Well,
effectively, yes.
The deck basically does run itself. Yes, against Night's Watch, in fact.
2 decks that run themselves.
Yeah. I would also say he's running the new Knight character, which he keeps telling me is rubbish.
The Knight of the Reach?
Yeah.
I was just looking at the board state at the moment.
Tell him Matt literally likes that guy.
Knight of the Reach is good.
I think it's good.
And the art alone is worth running that. The art is so pretty.
No, I think it's a good card. Yeah, he's just played Retaliation into his own confiscation.
I just find it funny because like his milk is like there's milks and everything.
I'm just laughing at the idea of going, yeah, I've got Randall down, go to the side. Oh god, I'm so glad I put Randall down on this milk. I've been holding onto this milk for ages.
Just that, how do you play it? I've never thought you could like. I've never tried to like do that play against myself because you're always going to know. Like you go, well, I'm going to play this, but then I'm going to play something else.
Yeah, the most I've done is I will sit there quite often and just do practice setups, do the first plot, and then maybe do a second plot with me working out what I'd have lost if someone done a military against me. But that's about it. I couldn't play myself. I don't think. I don't like playing with myself. There we go.
Okay.
Soundbite.
Yes.
Is that a British phrase, or does it mean what I think it means?
It's a bit rude. You'll learn this when you come over, Matt.
See.
So so Night's Watch. Is this? I'm not really sure where we are with that with Night's Watch anymore. It's the standard Filthy deck has basically not changed with the Watchers on the Wall.
Okay.
From what I've seen, Ryan was showing me his. Ryan was showing me after he was playing with himself. This is gunning. And he said basically he's just added in the Sad Santa card.
The one coster. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what he's added in. Or as Martin likes to call it, it's George R. R. Martin writing the next book by literally chiseling the words out. And that's why it's taking so long.
I knew his personal computer was old, but I don't know about that.
But obviously, you have now got this builder build.
The thing is oh god, that thing.
It's a machine when it goes.
It's just.
And obviously there is a crossing, which I think we could potentially see someone doing quite well with that. This new Reigns one I've been seeing, which I think might be influenced because that looked fun. And I don't think I've said that about Night's Watch deck in a while.
Yeah, well, Jon Snow's pretty good. I think he's good. He's an interesting character. He's got 6 strength, he's got stealth, and he can participate in multiple challenges. And
the fact he works with Wildlings and Night's Watch is quite a cool little thing.
Yeah, and you can kind of build a deck around him. So I think he was a very card that was good for the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Good for
It's quite scary to play against.
Now, do you think we're going to see Night's Watch in the cut? Because they're not that good anymore, are they?
Somewhere between like 2 to 4, I reckon.
Yeah,
it's a good question. How do you think Night's Watch does against Lannister?
I think that's personally a bit of a draw. Who draws into what? So if they can see enough Cravens and Milks to slow you down, I think Lannister starts struggling. But if they, I don't know actually, because then you got Treachery and you got Nightmares to stop the wall. But
all that does is slow them down. It doesn't necessarily stop them entirely.
No, but I don't know. Go on, Joe.
So going away from Lannister, one of the things with Night's Watch, like I think Joel said this to me, is that there's a sort of a weird triangle going on at the moment with Targaryen, Night's Watch, and Tyrell. In that Targ beats Tyrell, Tyrell beats Night's Watch, and Night's Watch beats Targ, and you kind of get stuck on what you're going to pick because they're all quite strong options at the moment, but they all have a very bad matchup out of the top ones.
I can see that.
Does
Stark as well?
Is he talking about Tyrell Rush, like Lord of the Crossing, or is he talking about a more evolved, more sophisticated Tyrell?
I'd say just a general rush. Like I think it's just a power rush they can't keep up with.
I think he'd be talking about Wolf or Crossing there.
Well, that makes sense. That was the meta that Ryan Wood brought Tyrell Crossing into. Yeah, and that was the big splash of, Rush is back, all right. But I think the meta's evolved, so if the Tyrell deck, if Tyrell Rush like kind of gets, blown out in the early rounds, then the Night's Watch decks that are able to weather, like say Targaryen, are better positioned.
I think Rush will be back at the end of the cycle when all that Frey tech's out.
Yeah, there is no deck at the moment, I think, that can handle everything that's in the top. So I'd say there's like 5 the 5 main factions: Lannister, Targaryen, Night's Watch, Stark, and Tyrell, which I think you can have a bad matchup with. I think every one of them has 1 to 2 bad matchups out of the 5. Then the other 2 they're quite comfortable with, and it's hard to actually make a proper.
So we're in rock paper scissors lizard Spock territory.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean we're still going to see Night's Watch. They're still a good deck. They're just not quite as dominant as they were kind of about 3 or 4 packs ago. And with Rush, I think Rush once the Frey tech's out, then I think you might see a Rush come back a bit more because some of those cards are just bonkers in combination with each other.
Yeah.
So Stark, which we have talked about as a bit of a wild card because they do shut down a lot of stuff. It really it's probably Filthy or Winter, really.
Filthy.
Yeah, Filthy will be the common one. I don't think we'll see any Winter.
Filthy will be the common one. I don't know. It's just maybe my deck. I don't find myself using Filthy as much as I'd like. So I have considered going to Winter just to, do something more with the agenda. But it probably will still say Filthy.
It's just the econ consistency.
Yeah, they need the money to put their big characters out and they need their big characters to keep up with, say, Lannister.
Yeah.
And
now
what's wrong? Yeah. Oh yeah, Stark needs to get out because Stark needs to get out like multiple of their best characters in order to really stand up to some of the other decks. Like they need Robb Stark and Jon Snow, or Eddard and Catelyn.
Yeah,
they have a really hard time just soloing. Yeah, so they're gonna need money in order to get multiple of their good characters out, so they can get that pack, out there.
I'm going to be interested to see what their two cost econ thing is.
Yep.
I just want to know what their one needs to be. I don't know. You denied your opponent a trigger last turn, draw 2 gold. But definitely, yeah. I mean, Stark seems to rely on just stopping your opponent from doing things a little bit to mess up their plan enough that you can win.
Yeah.
And you definitely need to be seeing the Catelyn and the character or the the castle, Winterfell and the characters to be that good. And it does cost a lot, as you say. But they do seem to be about outside. I'm just looking at the stats here, which I've got the annuals up and did it explicit like you've done, Matt.
Yeah.
And was it in America, North America, Stark has possibly the worst qualification ratio I've ever seen. Minus 1.91.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. I think that Americans like Stark. I think there's a certain colonialist spirit that drives people, to play the Starks. That wilderness loving frontiersman type of I don't know. I know it is. Down with the aristocracy. We like Stark.
I just don't get how do you get that bad of percentage. It's I can only put this down to from people who know Games Workshop stuff down to like the Space Marine mentality of that everyone plays them, so they never have a good qualifying ratio because everyone plays them. Doesn't matter how good you are. So good players, bad players, and the bad players kind of bring it down. That makes sense. Whereas I'm not being disrespectful for anyone playing Stark in America. Just half the listenership turns off. Whereas you can say you can get some other factions like Greyjoy, for instance, where if a lot of top players play them, or like what's his name, Thomas with Night's Watch. If Thomas turns up with Night's Watch, I don't care what the qualifying ratio is. I'm expecting him to qualify.
Yeah. I think part of it is that Stark Fealty is a very straightforward deck to build. So it's very easy to put together a Stark Fealty and go to a tournament and expect to do okay. I mean, maybe not necessarily make the cut, but like do okay and have a good time.
Like be that kind of in the hunt for the cut, but maybe not quite.
Yeah,
make it.
I think Stark's very good for that. They have a lot of cards that work really well together, and they don't require too many crazy, combos to pull off. Yeah, they're just.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see some Stark, at least in the kind of hunt for the cut, maybe even the lower end of the cut.
Yeah, and I think that there's some stark tricks in there that have not been explored enough yet, like Marriage Pact. I think we were talking about that earlier. Frozen Solid can be good in certain matchups.
Yes.
Ward's always nice. And then, of course, you've got Catelyn and Last Heart Scouts and things like that. I think they have enough shutdown that if they hit the right set of, 6 people in the Swiss, that they might be okay.
Yeah. So, Lannister.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, we continue them in the cut.
The Empire Strikes Back. I think at least 4 of the top 16 are going to be Lannister.
Yeah.
It is amazing to think Lannister even ever dropped off the meta a little bit, but
they never did. They never did.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Lanny Reigns will be the one.
Yeah.
I think.
I think Lanny Reigns is still going to be the most popular, but I think looking at it now, looking at some of the decks on here. On the various sites, Lanny, other stuff is starting to appear a bit more.
Yeah, like the ones I've been seeing is the Lanny Reigns, and there's like 2 variations that are working at the moment. You've got the sort of like big guys and Eerie, which seems to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite strong because your big stuff doesn't die anymore. And that's great. And then you've got the sort of bouncing deck with Tower of the Hand and Harrenhal.
Okay.
And I haven't seen that do amazingly in tournaments, but my experience of it is it handles Targ because it's like, well, you can't kill my board if there is no board there.
Yeah, and it also handles Targ because the stuff that tends to stay on the board tends to be quite strong.
Yeah,
you tend to be your Mountain, your Tywin, your New Cersei, and that they can't be killed by Jacaerys, at least not until Astapor comes out. That's gonna be a message change.
But I don't know. Lannister Rose after Chris Shunthor won Kublai Khan with it 9-0. It's definitely something.
What is this? The core meta again?
Kublai Khan was a tournament that happened just yesterday, and
I know, but it's the fact that that was one of the most popular decks back during the beginning of the first cycle, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the early days. Hey, that's when I don't know if you guys remember, but back in first cycle, Targaryen rose, and then Lannister made it fall, and I think we might be seeing a similar situation here. The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. Now, you're gonna see Lannister decks. It's the cards we all know that are doing most of the good work. They've got some of the best characters in the game. They don't seem quite as OP now because most other people have caught up. But Tywin, the Mountain, New Cersei, Tyrion, the Hound, these are all still really good cards.
Oh, yeah. Plus, the first time you get hit by like a 3-claim sneak attack trial by combat, you just want to cry.
Yeah.
And Cersei is an annoying counter to Plaza of Pride as well. Like, I was so happy at that side in my game on stream. Like, I don't know how much of it was shown, but yeah, the guy wasn't triggering it with Plaza of Pride. And I was like, thank God. Like,
that was like Ryan at the first game, the first tour champ we had, and he took he was playing Night's Watch, and he kept discarding cards for gold. And his opponent was like, "Yep, cool."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Sure, keep doing this then. Fine."
Yeah, and you try it once, see what happens. You go, right, they've caught on. Don't do this anymore. New plan.
Yeah. But Lannister is definitely back, and it's weird. It's kind of, it doesn't feel. I don't feel bad about that at the moment. I'm not there going like, "Oh, great, Lannister's back." Roll my eyes. It's almost refreshing at the moment. I'm sure in about a month's time I'll be going, "Oh, bloody Lannister again."
Yeah,
I think it's. I wouldn't say it's like there yet, but I personally I think it's a sign of what could be true in a couple of months, and that's an overly aggressive meta that kind of created some problems last year.
Yeah, but back, especially when we had that big gap between Cycle 1 and Cycle 2.
Yeah.
And the meta, which it was just Lanny Dragon everywhere.
I'm waiting for Lanny Dragon to come back again. That deck is very powerful if it's built right.
I think it could be back again.
Ill and Pain and Plaza of Pride should just chop all the dragons down before they can even do anything.
Yes.
No, Mary Mazdor with all this. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I've started running her again, and she's just too, like, you can't not now with Plaza of Pride.
No, she is so good. And people obviously these guys disappear because we've got Valor now. Let's kill stuff. Well, it's actually pretty good just to kill people's dupes and bodyguards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I very much treat her like Ryan used to say in his Barrow Dragon. Go, she's just a distraction, even though she's doing all of the bloody work.
Yeah, I used to love that, right? Yeah, she's just distract. Murder, murder, murder. She's just distracting you. Yeah, by wiping my board, Ryan. It's a pretty big distraction when I've got no characters left.
Yeah, I see what he's saying, though. It's like, this is a character that you can just put her out there. She doesn't need a whole lot of support. You just turn her sideways and watch your opponent, tie himself in a knot.
Especially when the hound's going in with her.
I tend to try
worse, when you have Tower of the Hand.
Yeah.
I want to try and just get her out on her own in a way, so that way if I can draw my opponent's Valor, then go, great, now I play my good cards, because you've now freaked out about Miri.
Oh my god, I hadn't even thought about Tower of the Hand with her.
Hmm?
Oh my god, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Tower of the Hand and Miri.
Does that work?
Yes.
I thought it was...
It's a reaction to winning.
Let me check, because I thought there was... No, it's a Lannister character.
Yeah, but no. You take her in with like Tywin that you've Harrenhaled in.
Oh, right, I get what you mean, yeah.
Tywin bounces back your 6-cost character, then Miri murders someone. Oh my god, that's disgusting.
Have you not heard of that before?
No. I've heard that. That's just...
And then you use Plaza of Pride, stand her back up, and do it again. And then you flash in the Hound, and then you do that. Oh god.
No, I've not seen that or heard that one in play. Because I've not been seeing Miri for months.
Yeah,
like
Miri
a
will
one-off.
appear quite a lot, I reckon, now.
Oh god. Anyway, last house, Barra, which is probably going to be Filthy or Summer as the main two.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought maybe a Kraken.
I think Targaryen has kind of pushed Baratheon Kraken out of the meta, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. That's probably a fair shout.
I mean, I think it's still pretty good, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling it right now.
Yep.
I know there's a few lion builds using the stealth from Tyrion, but again, I think that's just a bit too risky because Tyrion's very, very decarasable. But yeah, I mean, I can't. As you guys know, I've played a lot of Barra in the last 6 months or so, and I really can't place where they are in the meta right now. I'm really struggling. Sometimes I think they're going to be fine. Sometimes I think it just seems like they're not doing particularly good. I just can't quite see where they're at. I think Targ is not a great matchup for them, especially now they've got Plaza of Pride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've historically played lots of Baratheon, and Targaryen from day one was always the worst matchup.
Yeah,
and I think Tyrell can also be quite a good counter to them. I think that depends if you see Stannis early. I think you can beat Tyrell. If you don't see Stannis, I think you're in trouble.
Okay.
That's been my experience anyway. Because if you can control, Randall's brilliant, but he can't be winning everything by himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Baratheon, I feel like, is a good place to put Milk of the Poppy. Bring that back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Milk's definitely to be coming back. That's one of those cards. I'm like, why did this ever actually really disappear from the meta?
Well, to be honest, I think it disappeared because there's just so many neutral cards that you want to, that you're starting to consider staples that it's really hard to justify all of them. And
people going, oh, you just Valor and get rid of it, but you still shut down that character.
Yeah.
For 1 gold, even for like 2-3 turns, not having to worry about Dany or Khal Drogo, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's just difficult to find room for bodyguards and Milk of the Poppy and Nightmares and Hand's Judgment.
I agree.
I'm looking at a Barra list on Friends DB at the moment, which second place Cologne Regional.
Yeah, honestly.
And it's matchups like win against Targ, win against Targ, loss against Targ, win against Tyrell, loss against Targ, top 8, win against Targ, win against Martell, final, lose against Targ. That's 6 out of 8 games against Targ.
Oh yeah, I had a regional last weekend where I played 5 Targaryen matches straight.
This is interesting as well. That Barrow deck runs Valor. That's not a plot you normally see in Wildfire. You don't normally see Valor in Barrow.
Yeah, that's a hard one to justify.
But again, has he got 3 crescents? He has
2 crescent.
He has 2. He doesn't have here to serve. You see, if you have crescent, I can see it working because you just take away all their bodyguards.
I think it's the whole sell me and Stannis combo.
Yeah, that's
along
good
with
as well.
your own bodyguards.
Yeah, you can do that. Let's see here. I also see no confiscation. Oh yeah, that's something we can talk about. Confiscation.
Why do Barrow players do this? You need confiscation.
It's because Targaryen doesn't use attachments.
No one's really using that many books.
I still think you need confiscation. I think it's still one of those plots people should run because milk is a thing.
Yeah, you've got Crescent for that.
Yeah,
he's got summons.
If he gets milked.
Oh yeah, well then you. Oh wait, he doesn't even have like. Okay, never mind. I was thinking if he could like get Crescent killed and then use like close call or.
Oh, he's got close call.
Oh, there he goes. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, but Targaryen they'll just run Crown of Gold and that's it.
Yeah, no, I've seen quite a lot of builds like that. But yeah, Barrow, I really can't read. I think we'll probably see between the 2 events. I think we're going to see one make the cut. I don't think it seems more popular in America going by the annuals.
I'm getting a little worried now, just looking for things because there's a second place there. I know Jamie Banfield won a regional today or yesterday with them.
Yeah, yesterday.
So they are winning in Europe. So I'm not whether it is just those builds of having lots of big guys. There's clearly something working.
Yeah, I think Baratheon's an old faithful. It'll always make the cut. Like there'll be 1 or 2.
You're making me rethink my choices now.
Oh, absolutely. Just play Baratheon Fealty, use 7 gold Melisandre, and just text me every turn, and I'll give you advice.
Awesome. Sorry, man. I just need to. My wife's not feeling well. I just need to take a photo of the board state to make her feel better. Yeah, I'm sure that'll work. But
I'm looking at the stats here. He looked like he got quite lucky to get into the cut. He went 2-2, and there's 18 people. Did he go for? No, it's quarterfinals.
Oh, Jamie. Sorry.
Yeah. Jamie. Right. So he went 2-2. It was top 8 out of 18 people, so he must have been like right at the edge.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you would be at that point.
But then won the rest.
Because Barrow, if you can get that God start, you basically won the game. But I don't know. I really don't know. I'm struggling with Barrow in my head. Even though I've played so much about it, and I should know them. I should know it well.
The thing with Barrow is that the God start is you need even more cards for it to work now.
Yeah.
Because it has to be all your stuff and the bodyguards and the dupes to keep them alive. Because if you get all your good stuff, you might just get valid or murdered. Okay.
So, so differences between the metas then. So, looking at the annuals, this is really interesting because basically, bar Tyrell and Stark and Night's Watch, the balances between the two. So what's positive, what's negative is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Now Stark, and in all fairness, I'm actually almost called Stark a positive in the Europe because it's such a big jump from the American minus. it effectively is a positive because jumping from it's quite hard to jump from minus 1.93. That's like 9.91. Sorry, and they get to respectable minus 0.31, that's a pretty big jump.
Well, it looks like from the stats at least that Tyrell looks like a good choice, and Targaryen looks like a pretty good choice, and of course Lannister. That same triumvirate we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
But whereas Barra in the North America is got the second
on a hot
best,
streak.
It's got the second best qualifying rate.
Yeah.
And in Europe it's got the worst qualifying rate.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. The fact that it's number 2 in America and yet minus over here, because that goes against what some people were saying back at the end of the first cycle.
Okay.
Which was basically, North America's just playing Lanny Dragon, and if they played lots of Barrow like we do in Europe, they'd be fine. But apparently they are playing lots of Barra, and we're not doing very well Barra in Europe.
Yeah, that was a difficult call. As usual with these with the statistics here, there's only so much we can really gather, especially when we're talking about who the players are, and which tournaments they're a part of and which areas of the country they're in, or the continent in Europe's case. But I think what we can see is that Tyrell's pretty popular, Targaryen's pretty popular, Lannister is good, and I think everything we went over so far with the different factions, I think really covers a lot. It covers a lot of the picture.
And so it is interesting that, as you say, the Banner of the Kraken is really popular and does
That's
really
interesting.
well in the States, and yet over here it's pure Greyjoy does really well and Banner of the Kraken doesn't. That's and so to me that actually says it probably means that we're actually in the right way. We're looking at the Greyjoy cards in the same way. It's just somewhat in America they've gone, or the States, it's like, actually I think they'd be better bannered to something, whereas in the UK we go, no, you'd be better main house. But it's still probably the key cards or what's making those qualifying rates good. Which is probably Macy Iron Mines, in all fairness. Ooh, getting severe there. Okay. Better now, Matt, or?
Can you hear me, Brett?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, we can take some time. I can edit all this out later. Can you hear me, Matt?
Yeah. Hello?
Matt?
Okay.
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 Yeah.
You guys can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so I'll just try to keep up.
Nice. Awesome. So, but yeah, so this is also a conversation we used to have in Flames of War, where people used to go, "Oh, different meta in America and different meta in Australasia." Actually, no. The army list there that won were basically the same army list. There was no, just because you're in North America. Yeah, I mean, yes, you probably have to alter slightly for the meta because, but then that's the same in the UK, and the same in Europe. Ryan went to Patala, knew that, read the meta well, as you said, and then took Tyrell Crossing, and did really well. You still need to try and read the meta no matter where you are. And knowing what's going to be popular. But if I went to Euros and then jumped on a plane and flew all the way over to the North Pacific Northwest and took part in American Nationals the next day, I dare say I'd be seeing most of the decks I'd be seeing are going to roughly be the same.
Yeah, I think at this point in the game, I would largely agree with that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's my shoulder. Oh, I just hurt my shoulder there. That's painful. I mean, is there a different mindset? Do you think, again, looking at Greyjoy as an example, is North American meta quite aggressive, very aggressive, or?
From what I can see, it's my sense that North America we tend towards aggressive or control, not as much in the middle. Either you're going to play there'll be an abnormal amount of 2-claim military, wipe your board decks, an abnormal amount of, location heavy, character light, we're going to Varys the board 3 times, types of decks, compared to, I think, the rest of the world. We kind of, we go all in, as the Texas Hold'em players would say. That's my sense. From what I've seen. So, whereas I've noticed on streams of a lot of European tournaments that you'll see some really interesting, at least to me, strategies will start to pop up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, to throw it to you, Matt, we did this for Euros on the last podcast, so I want you to give us the top 3 most represented factions for American nationals, what you reckon will be, and what you think's going to win it.
All right, here we go. I think I'm just going to stick with what I was saying earlier. I think it's going to be Tyrell Lannister and Targaryen, not necessarily in that order, and I think Lannister's going to win it.
You think Lannister's going to win? I think that's a fair
I think
shout.
Lannister's going to win it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, guys. A year on and nothing's changed. Lannister's still going to win it.
Basically, we predicted the same for Euros as well.
Yeah,
I think.
Basically. I think I didn't have Targ down to win it.
I think I had Lanny, you might have had Targ.
Yes.
I can't remember what Rebecca's was.
I think I also had Stark down as being the 4th most popular faction, but I think I'm going to change my mind on that now. I got a feeling they're going to be quite unpopular, but I still don't quite understand why.
I'm wondering whether Targ will still be one of the most popular, but I think we've reached this point now. At least this is my experience from doing more testing, is that everyone has finally jumped on the fuck Targ boat and started to try and tech against them. Try to go against the tide.
It is amazing how quickly metas change.
I think it took a lot longer than expected for people to actually start trying to play against it, considering how long it was doing well.
I've been doing it for the last month, but yeah.
I'm not sure. That's another thing that could be a difference between our continents, is that it's my sense that in North America, what'll happen is we have this meta. For example, Targaryen starts getting really good, and it takes a while for the meta to adapt. But when it does, it adapts really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just because of the way the way the information gets out. It seems a bit harder in Game of Thrones to sometimes get this information that is on, let's say, Netrunner.
Mm-hmm.
But in Netrunner, there was a regional last weekend, and this deck won it. It was a Estelle Moon deck, for those who understand what it is. And basically, every runner deck online has completely designed now just to shut down this one deck. and it basically and all the 2 streamers I watch and the 2 YouTube channels I watch, they've all put lists up, the decks up that beat it. And but that's also creating the counter meta, because all these guys, the events they're going to, their corp decks are designed to beat decks that beat the moon deck.
Oh man!
And it's just like bam, my head's just gone. But they change really quickly. A deck becomes hot, and that's pretty much it. You've got about a week or 2 to use it, otherwise everyone's going to have a counter for it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's just that damn good.
Yeah, I think there was an instance last year. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a regional. Was it Reading Regional, where Stark was really popular at the time, but no one took Stark to it, or very few people did, because everyone was anticipating that Stark was going to be really popular.
Yes, because I almost took Stark to that, and then I didn't.
Yeah,
because I thought everyone would take Stark.
Went, let's not take Stark because everyone else would do it, and everyone did the same thing.
Yeah, and then Stark there was like Ryan, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's actually more Banner of the Wolf than there was actual Wolf.
Yeah, I think that's always the thing that can happen, is people will expect, there's going to be Targ players, I think, who jump ship. I've been considering it for the last week. Is it going to be too teched against to actually play efficiently? Do you then try and play against things that are going to beat it? So do I try to have the deck that beats Stark and Lanny quite comfortably, and have Tyrell as my bad matchup? It's everyone's going to be having to make a call like that.
No, I think and it's sometimes quite hard to read the meta. I remember talking to Ryan about Battalion, and he'd actually checked out a few of their events on Jousting Pavilion beforehand and seen what was popular, and so it was all these Wall and IKEA decks. So I do love that name.
I tried to do that with Dockside, but the tournaments were a bit small. And I don't think there's been enough information. And I don't know enough of who's really coming to Euros to actually get much info. Whereas I imagine it might be a bit easier in America.
Who's going? Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Players will travel in packs. We're like, on group, they'll travel in groups. That makes a lot of sense.
I imagine you're going to get the Salcal meta up there, I imagine?
Yeah, although I've heard some rumor that they're skipping it in favor of Stolic this year.
Oh, okay.
So, they may or may not be there.
I guess for Euros, you basically look at the UK meta, because most of the players are going to be from the UK.
We haven't had any big tournaments to really work off of.
Because our first regional is 2 weeks after Euros.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating and interesting at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of looking for regionals feels like a nice come down after
it does.
this, because I'm so stressed with Euros, and I'm going to take some absolute nonsense in most of the regionals, just try and get the top 8 mat at some point.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping I get the top 8 mat in the first one, and then I can just take Jank for the next 2.
Yeah, well, it's Northampton. I'm guaranteed King of Swiss.
Well, actually, I say Jank. I'll be taking the new best deck in the meta, Targ Reigns.
You say that you do realise you're gonna put down your Danny and your Greywell and go great, and then someone's gonna play what's his name, Jewel. Then one of them's gonna die, and then you're gonna go from there.
Huh?
Don't make me.
Targaryen Reigns. That's right. Grey Worm has an intrigue icon.
He does. It's not so much Grey. It's not so much Grey Worm. We made a joke that Greyjoy gets the power Monicon. New pack. Greyjoy get power Monicon. The last cycle, all Tar got was quite expensive. Intrigue power icons. They've got so many intrigue icons. Surely they must be able to get Reigns through. Plus they could do Dracarys. Plus they've got all these Minus's abilities. Surely Reigns must work for them.
But the problem is all those intrigue icons cost 5 or more.
Well, you got Great Hall now.
Yeah, but that doesn't work on Giscari Elite. Well, that only gets you Piet Pri, and you can have Piet Pri if you want.
It also gives you Grey Worm at a discount. He's good, I hear. And Danny at a discount. She's good, I hear.
Yeah, but then that's the thing. And Jewel is going to be in the meta.
Yeah, there is that. Is that in this pack?
That'll be the same pack. Basically, all of the stuff we thought Targ was going to do really well with is not going to work next pack. Lay Siege is going to be in a lot of decks, because Lay Siege is a very good card from the sounds of it. Even if you ignore the whole contested part.
That's yeah. So basically, you're going to have lots of Khal Drogos and Dannys. One of them killing the other one.
Oh, Duel. Oh, okay. Yeah. If we want to have a side conversation about Duel, that's a good topic.
That's I think that card's going to disappear at some point. I don't think that's going to be a card that's going to be around forever.
It's not going to be in everyone's decks, but there's going to be some decks that use it quite effectively.
Yeah. I wanted to like Duel, but then I thought about it and I realized I don't think that plot's actually very good. What's up?
I was saying, isn't the problem that you can't run any 6-costers as well, though?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it doesn't do a very good job of addressing the problem that the creator of the card intended it to address. Because, all right, so here we go. Hypothetical scenario. By the way, for all you listening at home, we're talking about Duel, the recently revealed plot that's going to be in Pack 3. How do you like my announcer voice, narrator voice? Yeah. So here's the problem with Duel. Let's hypothetical scenario. Opponent sets up Tywin. Oh my god, everything's awful. Man, don't I wish I had this plot that I could use to counter it. Except no, you can't, because what ends up happening is they set up Tywin, and if they think you're playing Duel, they just don't play any 6-cost characters. Meanwhile, you're tying yourself in knots, playing only 5s and below, and you still haven't killed Tywin, by the way, because there needs to be another 6-cost character out there to even make the duel happen. But then let's say I'm trying to fight them back, and I eventually, I put out you're on Crow's Eye or something. Well, Duel's still not going to help you because I flip Duel, and then Euron dies.
It's never going to work in those decks, but say if we say a Martell Philly deck or a Night's Watch Philly as well, where you don't run Corin half-hand.
Yeah, if you're running one of those types of more controlly decks, I think Duel is going to be fine. But here's the problem: you still don't kill Tywin.
Yeah, but But having that scenario, though, where you're not letting your opponent play all of the big stuff is still pretty good, because the whole Great Hall meta we've currently got is it will slow that down. It's stopping your opponent going mad.
I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a Martel Stag deck that will run it.
Yeah,
decks like that. Yeah, I think they were already doing fine with like Varus's and March to the Wall and Unexpected Delays and those sorts of things. I don't know if like Duel is just extra icing for them. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something that everyone has to be aware of at the start. So it's going to make everyone play a bit differently.
Is it can't be saved?
Cannot be saved.
Okay.
So there is that.
That does make it right. Otherwise, and do you need to have 2 characters in play to be able to play it, or
yes?
Or is it, so
you won't go off unless there's 2.
Right. So it isn't just it doesn't just come a filthy accusation otherwise.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not convinced. I think you're going to see it to start with, and I think it's going to be stuff like it's going to be like a Winter Festival, which was everywhere, and now you hardly see it anymore. I think it's going to be one of those cards. I think you can see it for a month or 2, and then I think it will disappear from the meta.
I gotcha. Well, it's possible that some more good armies are going to come out to make it work.
That's the thing. If that army's agenda had won,
right?
Battle of the Trident. Why did they have to let bloody maces win? Then I think it actually would have a good place.
Yeah, it's possible. So the thing about Duel is what I wish it was, and I think it'd be pretty decent if it was, like, let's say I flip Duel. I choose the characters, and then, like, my opponent chose the characters, but then I chose which one died. Yeah. Then I think it'd be pretty.
That is the problem, because they're going to choose the one that's better for them, and I'm never keen on a card where I let my opponent control what happens.
Yeah. Because if it was I chose which character died, then let's say we get in that scenario where they set up Tywin, I play Euron Crow's Eye, I flip Duel, they are gonna, they have to pick Tywin and Euron Crow's Eye, I kill Tywin, Euron gets knelt, which is nasty. I'm basically filthily accusing myself. And so that's a really nasty, downside to that scenario. But I get Tywin off the board.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. And I wonder if at some point in playtesting it was something like that.
I have a feeling.
Yeah. Anyway, we better round off this episode. We've been talking for 2 hours. Not that's the problem. I like talking.
Yeah. So that's right. So it sounds like we've gone over some metagame insights, and we've presented our predictions.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they might go back to remember mine and Jay's, because I actually can't remember.
Mine was Targ, Tyrell, Lannister.
Same here.
Did I have Night's Watch instead of?
No.
No.
I think you might have had Lannister higher. No, you had Tyrell higher, I think.
Yes, I had Tyrell at the top, and you had Targ at the top. That was it, and that was basically the only difference. And then I had Stark as number 4, which is a complete. I was too high on my own Stark success, I think.
I think Stark might be number 4.
I don't think that'd be. I don't know. Right. I don't think it helps that the band doesn't like them, and I think that might influence people. Boring Stark, as they call them. But okay. Well, Matt, thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
No, it's been our pleasure. No, seriously, thank you.
Oh, excellent. Well, hopefully you'll have me on again.
I wouldn't get that far.
Oh.
I'm joking.
One hit wonder.
No, it's been very insightful. Jay, do you want to send us off?
I don't know. Matt, would you like to? Do you know how to do it?
So what is the origins of This Has Been Emotional?
So